Hi, welcome to your reading. We're going to be looking at how 2024 is going to pan out for you, so I invite you to pick from pile 1, 2 or 3 and we'll get straight into your reading. Pile number 1, this is your reading for 2024. We're going to look at how everything is going to pan out for you. We're going to look at how it will compare to 2023 and then we'll look at your career and relationships. So your first card is Strength, and this is just defining 2024. I feel like 2024 is going to be the year where you feel like you really find yourself and you can explain who you are, you know your identity. It's not always the easiest to bring this out. I feel like it takes some time and inner reflection. I feel like you will spend time really understanding who you are. You're going to spend time exploring that question, and then you're going to figure out how to bring that out into your life practically. I think a lot of it this year is going to be about making sure that you're spending time doing things that you really enjoy and making sure that you're bringing yourself as much joy as you can. I feel like that's going to be a theme for you this year, is just going to be really about figuring out how you want to live your life and who you are, and that means recognizing who you're not and also what you don't want to spend your time doing. And I'm feeling Spirit say that this is not, it sounds quite dramatic or it sounds difficult, but actually it's not. I feel like it's going to be really enjoyable. I think the thing that you're going to notice is that you're going to have to hold yourself accountable, because ultimately you are the only person who can figure out where you're spending your time and your energy in a way that's beneficial to you and where you're not. So you're just going to have to, I can see you weighing this up a lot, having, time to reflect every so often, where you think about, could I have done that differently? Should I have done that differently? Should I maybe delegate something? Can I get someone else to do this task that actually I really don't enjoy doing? Or can I organise my week in a different way? So I feel like it's about, 2024 is about practicing giving yourself what you need, but I don't feel that it's going to be in a really challenging way. I think it's simply about remembering to organise your life and organise the way that you're thinking. So I feel like that's the main theme that's coming through for you, and we're going to look at your career next. So we've got, I am in awe of the magnificent guidance that's available to me. I feel you are going to be really trusting your intuition more with your career this year and not listening so much to what other people are talking about. I'm sensing that 2024 is going to be a year where you start to recognize that listening to your intuition when it comes to your career is going to guide you towards things that you couldn't logically be aware of prior to them happening. You're going to start recognizing that for that to happen, you have to create a certain amount of space. It means that sometimes when something doesn't feel right, you might say no to an opportunity, even though you don't have the evidence as to why it's not the right thing for you. I feel like you may not be entirely certain of what you want in your career this year. You're giving yourself the space you need to figure that out. I feel like that's the thing that's going to really shift and change this year, is that you're not going to make a plan of, I want step 1, 2, 3 to be the next steps in my career, and I know what they're going to look like. You're letting go of control and just seeing how life guides you and what shows up for you that could be quite surprising. So I feel like it's quite an exciting year. It's one where I feel actually like your focus is not going to be so much on career. I do feel like, as we already discussed, it's going to be more about filling yourself up and making sure you're feeling fulfilled. And I think that that seeps into your career where, for instance, if you're asked to speak at an event or go to an event, it might seem like a good opportunity, but if it doesn't feel interesting to you or exciting to you, it's where you start to actually, not to say no to every opportunity, but to be more discerning about how you want to spend your time. And I think that with practice this year, you're going to start noticing how that plays a role in taking you on a more unusual journey around your work. So we're going to look at your personal life, love and relationships, and see what comes up for you in 2024. So I'm just picking from this pack of cards. Steady progress. I feel like there's something here that's leading on from 2023. You've been forging a new kind of way of relating to people, and this is in terms of existing relationships and also new ones. And here we're talking about all kinds of relationships in your life, but I feel that you're noticing how you're spending your energy with people. I think you're really reflecting on how you communicate, how you relate, how you feel around certain people. And it just feels like there's a continuation of being very aware and conscious. I think this year you're going to be contemplating and reflecting on 2023 in terms of the relationships that you might have built or how relationships might have changed for you. And you're starting to think about, you're noticing how you relate, and then you're starting to think about what kind of relationships do I want to create. So you're not just observing now, you're moving into a creative mode of, I really enjoy being around these kinds of people, having these kinds of conversations. I'm going to pick one more card and see what else comes through here. The universe has big plans for me and it's time to claim them. So what I actually felt as I picked this card was a sense of surrender. So it may be true that, the universe has big plans for you, but I feel that you're not trying to force anything. That's something that's changed. And I think that you're going to really notice that this year, that you're not feeling like you have any kind of urgency around having a particular type of relationship or friendship group, whatever it is that you're working towards. You're just really trusting that you will be guided to where you need to be. There's a sense of excitement this year. I feel like it's the year that you stop making such an effort. It feels like you just show up as you're meant to show up, and then things happen for you. This is quite a new experience, and I feel like you're just going to have a lot of fun this year, and I think it just pays to continue to really be conscious about what you're enjoying and what you're not, and then seeing what plays out for you in 2024. If you picked pile number 2, this is your 2024. We're going to first look at how this year is going to compare to 2023 for you. We're going to look at the overall themes, and then we will look at your career and then your personal life. So we have for you, I believe I'm worthy of feeling good. And we also have this card pop out, I release time and let the universe show me what to do. The first thing that's coming through with these cards is that you have had a lot of realizations in the last year in 2023, and you have clarity about how you want to step forward into the new year. And a lot of it's really quite deep and difficult for you to acknowledge and to process. Just had this rebirth where you just recognize how you want to live. You recognize what you've been doing that has contributed to not having the experiences that you want to have. And I also feel like you feel a lot of joy, so it's not just heaviness, but there is also a lot of pleasure in your life, a lot of celebration about the life that you have created for yourself, but I feel like you're taking it to the next level. I feel like you have a lot of joy on a day-to-day level, but if you look at the different aspects of your life, say where you're living or your career or maybe your personal relationships, you want things to be dramatically different. And I feel like you've had an awareness. I'm getting November for some of you, so it could be that something happened around November going into December. That may not be for everyone, but there seems to have been an enormous shift in mindset. I feel like you've really learnt to appreciate who you are and what you want in your life. I'm just going to pick another card for an overall theme of 2024 before we get into your career and personal life. So I'm just picking from these Adoring Virtue cards. Release and surrender. So there's a theme that's a bit similar with pile number 1 here, if you were drawn to that pile as well. It's about having this clarity about what you want, but also letting go of the rest and understanding that everything that you've built in your life up to this point, the parts of it that don't work for you anymore, you will have to let go of those, but that energy will still make itself apparent in your life for a while. So if you have hobbies or friends or some work that you feel like is no longer aligned, you'll possibly still have opportunities around those areas coming to you, and you're just going to have to be really clear about your intentions with letting them go. And it doesn't have to be a straightforward no, but as the year goes on, as 2024 goes on, I feel like you will be just recognizing sometimes like, oh, there's a bit of a pull. I feel drawn to say yes to that thing that I used to do, but I know it's no longer for me. I can see this happening, but there's also a clarity. That clarity about what you want remains, and I think it's just, I can see in 2024 having to have this internal dialogue with yourself about keeping track of your goals, because there's something, I'm getting 36, I don't know what that means. Maybe some of you are turning 36, or you may be thinking about that age. It may not be for everyone, but there's something about wanting to be at a certain place by a certain time, and I feel like for the first time for you, you're starting to really think about this seriously. You're recognizing that if you want to achieve that goal, if you want to be in a certain place, if you want your life to look a certain way by a certain time, you're going to have to change gears and really, really start being serious about saying no to certain things and making other things happen. So I feel like this is a big theme of 2024. We're going to look at your career. So I'm just going to pick from these Moonology cards. So we've got be bold and make the first move. I feel like 2024 is definitely about that, and you're already being bold with yourself. I feel like it's not a year where you're going to have to, it's not a year where it feels like you're learning to put yourself out there. Excuse me. I feel like you've already done that. It feels like you've got a lot of experience under your belt, and it's not just in a particular field, it's also about life skills, professional skills. It's just that this being bold and making the first move is sticking to those goals. It's about recognizing that you just have to be the person you've become, not be the person you were a long time ago. It's about just shifting gears and becoming this more mature version of yourself. And when I say mature, I literally just mean in terms of age. The things that you have developed over the last, say, 5 years, I feel like you are really putting them into action. I really feel as if there's not a lot more to share about your career in 2024, because it feels like the energy is simply about you creating what you want. And I feel like you're going to have plenty of opportunities to do that. So it's not about this, like, is this going to happen? Am I going to get this opportunity? It's more about, okay, here I am. This is how I'm showing up, and this is how I'm creating the career that I want. So I'm going to tune into your personal life and see what comes through. When I merge my desire with faith, I can take action from a place of peace rather than control. I feel like your personal life is where there's going to be the most noticeable change in 2024. Actually, that's not the right way of saying it, because I think there can be a lot of change in your career, but it feels like your personal life is where you're going to really notice it and feel it. I'm sensing that there might be connections that no longer feel right to you, and I think it might be quite surprising how disconnected you might feel from people, even people that you have considered close quite recently. I feel like you're just going to see things very clearly. It doesn't feel dramatic, it doesn't feel like there's anything to worry about, or it's just that you're going to start noticing things that have been there all along and that you just don't really want in your life necessarily. I feel like you're going to have to also figure out how to create boundaries, and that could be a little challenging practically, because it might be that you want to stay connected to certain members of a group but not be so close to others. It definitely feels like your social life here that I'm being called to read into. There's definitely a feeling of sort of a group dynamic, whether that's a loose group or a tight group, you know, whatever it is. But I feel like this is where it's actually the thing I also feel that has brought you down in 2023 at times is group dynamics. It can feel a bit like a muddle to you, and I feel like 2024 is going to be the year where you really recognize quite how much that can drain you and how it impacts on other areas of your life, how it impacts on how you perceive yourself, because I also feel like you may have been managing conflicts. I feel like 2024 is the year where you're going to put into practice some practical techniques of how to create stronger boundaries so that you're not taking on that energy yourself. So I feel like 2024 is a really exciting year for you. There is a similarity with pile number 1. You may want to check out that pile as well if you feel called to. And I just wish you an amazing year. Pile number 3, this is your 2024. So we're going to look at the overall theme for the year and how it compares to 2023. Then we will be looking at your career and your personal life. So I'm going to pick a card here, first of all, to tune into the overall theme for this year for you. So we have the universe powerfully responds the instant I realign with love. I feel like this is going to be a really heart-centered, heart-opening year, and I think that it's going to draw you into an energy, a way of being with yourself that you've always felt the potential of and you've perhaps felt at times, but it's going to be more powerful, where you just really do feel connected on a heart level to people. And I think your life experience for one reason or another is going to really support that and nurture it. It's just a year where perhaps in the past you've been focused on financial success. This year is about grounding into what is already here for you. It's about feeling a sense of stability, and I think that's going to really help you to just sense who you are and who you want to be, how you want to feel around people and how you want to relate to others. It just feels like a really beautiful year. I also feel like it's the beginning of more stability in your life. It's about sensing that as much as life can be, you know the things that are predictable in your life. Obviously we can never know for sure, but it feels like you're going to experience that more than you have previously, and it's going to be really, it's going to be really comforting to you. I want to just pick one more card, looking at the themes of 2024, and then we will look at your career and your personal life. So we've got healing. There's something also about, oh, this is a geranium. I actually thought that it was a hydrangea, but there's something about this flower that may also be quite meaningful to you. I feel that you're going to really feel satisfied in 2024. I think that you're going to have everything you want in a sense, and I do feel like, okay, there may be some things on your list of manifestations or the things that you're desiring that you don't get ticked off, but that's simply because it can happen another time. There's no feeling of rushing towards something. It just feels really satisfying and relaxed, and I also feel like you're going to have more joy in your life this year, and I think more time to just maybe take a holiday, a vacation, or play or have some kind of creative projects. It just feels like there's much more time for you to live a full life instead of feeling like you're spending a lot of time working or a lot of time on one or two particular projects. It just feels like this is a really, really good year for you. And it's also, I'm getting the word safety in my head, so I'm feeling like perhaps in the past you haven't felt that way. You haven't felt that you can trust that things are just okay, like that everything is good. And I think this is the year that's going to be pivotal in showing you that things can be that way. So we're going to look at your career next. Okay, so we're going to look at the Moonology cards. I'll just pick a card from here and see what comes through. Take time to breathe out. For some of you, I do feel like you are taking a break of some kind in your career. And for others, this could actually look like fulfilling a particular role for a certain time. There's some kind of break, and for some of you that looks like doing something a little bit different for a certain amount of time. It could be, say, fulfilling someone's maternity leave. For others of you, that is literally taking a break out of work itself. But I feel like there's a lot of creativity going on within your work. And this can also, I feel like I'm getting hobbies as well. So there's something where you have a lot more energy for creativity, turning a hobby into something more. But I do feel like there's no pressure on it. It's something that might happen almost without you realizing. Spending time doing something a little bit different. And this could be something that may not come to fruition in 2024. It may be later on. There are a lot of different situations that we're looking at here. But there's a feeling of ease. I'm seeing a boat and the sea, and I feel like that just, say, sitting on a yacht and just not really going anywhere, just sort of floating along. This doesn't necessarily define the whole of 2024, so please don't worry, if you are in a stable job and you just want it to remain that way. I just feel like there may be opportunities there's something like emerging here. It could be like an idea that's emerging for you. There's something else that you like working on. Your creativity feels like there's a fuel behind it, and it's not necessarily to do with your career. It can be sort of offshoot, or it could be a hobby, but it just feels like there's something else that you're starting to think about or work on. I'm going to pick another card to get a bit more clarity here. Okay, so for career, so we've got clarity. So I feel like this year a lot of you are starting to project forwards, say, the next 3 to 5 years in your career, and you're starting to think, what will I need in that time? Where do I want to be? And I think you're starting to make steps towards it. And I think that you have clarity, possibly already, about what you want that to look like. But there's no pressure on it right now. It feels like you're just setting the foundations for this in the year ahead. So we're going to look at your personal life. And I'll just pick a card and see what comes through here. I can decide today to recalibrate my energy and commit to love and joy. I'm going to pick another card too. When I'm in a state of appreciation, I'm in vibrational alignment with my true love nature. I feel like there are some really joyful surprises in your personal life in 2024. It feels like I'm seeing grains of your seeds being sown in 2023, and I feel like that is going to come back to you. seeds that have been sown are going to really blossom this year, and I think in quite a surprising way for you. Like piles 1 and 2, I feel more drawn to looking at your social life, as in your friendships, more so than a love relationship. But if you're feeling that this resonates with love as well, that's absolutely fine. I just feel like people are going to come back to you in a bigger way than you anticipated. And a lot of it has to do with having cleared some energy away that was just no longer serving you around friendships or relationships in general. I feel like that happened in 2023. I feel like you also possibly had to make more effort in the past, and I'm not just talking about the past year, but generally previous years too. I feel like you've put a lot of effort into trying to make connections that really give you a sense of joy, and this year you're realizing that you're not having to do that so much. It's just happening for you. You're at a more aligned place with yourself. I feel like it was a journey to get there, but there just seems to be a lot of blossoming friendships. I'm also just feeling that people say things to you and they tell you how much you mean to them. That comes as quite a surprise, but obviously a really joyful surprise this year. You may not have experienced that much in the past, or if you did, maybe you didn't really believe it, but I feel like you're just in that more heart-centered place and you're ready to receive that appreciation and love. So I really wish you a wonderful, wonderful 2024, and I'll read again for you soon.